Introduction to FedRAMP, the first training course in the series of FedRAMP online training courses. I'm Jason Oxenhemler, your instructor for this training. The FedRAMP Program Management Office, or PMO, developed this training series to help FedRAMP CSP applicants properly prepare for a FedRAMP assessment by providing a deeper understanding of the program and the level of effort required to satisfactorily complete a FedRAMP assessment. We're providing insight into what to expect when going through the FedRAMP process to help ensure CSPs have the knowledge and resources to succeed. Today's training will provide an overview of the FedRAMP program and how it works. This training course will highlight FedRAMP, U.S. government policy and legal framework, FedRAMP governance and stakeholders, goals and benefits of using FedRAMP, the relationship between FedRAMP, NIST, and risk management framework, paths for cloud service providers to achieve authorization, and requirements for CSPs to become FedRAMP compliant. Cloud computing offers a unique opportunity for the federal government to take advantage of cutting-edge information technologies to dramatically reduce procurement and operating costs while greatly increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of services provided to its citizens. FedRAMP provides a cost-effective, risk-based approach for the adoption and use of cloud services. Established in December of 2012, FedRAMP is the first government-wide security authorization program for FISMA, which requires each federal agency to develop, document, and implement programmatic information security for systems that support the operations and assets of the agency. This also includes systems and services provided or managed by another agency, contractor, or other source. Cloud computing offers a unique opportunity for the federal government to take advantage of cutting-edge information technologies to dramatically reduce procurement and operating costs while greatly increasing the efficiency and effectiveness of services provided to its citizens. FedRAMP provides a cost-effective, risk-based approach for the adoption and use of cloud services. Established in December of 2012, FedRAMP is the first government-wide security authorization program for FISMA, which requires each federal agency to develop, document, and implement programmatic information security for systems that support the operations and assets of the agency. This also includes systems and services provided or managed by another agency, contractor, or other source. FedRAMP processes are designed to assist agencies in meeting FISMA requirements for cloud systems and addresses complexities of cloud systems that create unique challenges for complying with FISMA. FedRAMP's focus is to ensure the rigorous security standards of FISMA are applied while introducing efficiencies to the process for cloud systems, key of which is reuse. FedRAMP's framework is being modeled in other government security programs and by other countries, such as the UK, EU, and China, and has led to more than 700 cloud systems that meet FedRAMP requirements and has contributed to $70 million in cost avoidance through reuse of FedRAMP authorizations. FedRAMP fits within the same framework agencies are using currently to provide security authorizations of IT services. FedRAMP does not replace FISMA. FedRAMP builds upon FISMA. FedRAMP is the way agencies implement FISMA for use of cloud-based IT products and services. Essentially, FedRAMP is a supplemental policy to OMB A130 for security authorizations. Agencies are still required to grant individual authorizations. In the hierarchy, FISMA is the law, A130 is the policy creating the NIST framework for agencies to implement FISMA, FedRAMP builds upon NIST guidance specifically for cloud solutions, and agencies use these requirements to authorize a system for use. FedRAMP is governed by a Joint Authorization Board, or the JAB, and it acts as the primary governance and decision-making body for FedRAMP. The JAB is comprised of the Chief Information Officers from the Department of Homeland Security, DHS, the General Services Administration, GSA, and the Department of Defense, DoD. Under the JAB, a team of technical representatives act as lead reviewers for security authorization packages and support policy development and guidance. FedRAMP collaborates with other stakeholders as well as to identify high-priority security and identity management initiatives and develop recommendations for policies, procedures, and standards to address those initiatives. The governance of FedRAMP is comprised of different executive branch entities that work in a collaborative manner to develop, manage, and operate the program. Other governing bodies of FedRAMP include NIST, the National Institute of Standards and Technology. NIST is the federal government's leading body for the establishment of standards. As required by FISMA, NIST's Computer Security Standards, Special Publication 853, FIPS 199, FIPS 200, and the Risk Management Framework, Special Publications 837, Revision 1, serve as the foundation for FedRAMP. NIST advises FedRAMP on FISMA compliance requirements and also assists in developing standards for the accreditation of independent 3PAOs or third-party assessment organizations. The Federal CIO Council disseminates FedRAMP information to federal CIOs and other representatives through cross-agency communications and events. The Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, manages the FedRAMP continuous monitoring strategy, including data feed criteria, reporting structure, threat notification coordination, and incident response. The Office of Management and Budget, OMB, the governing body that issued the FedRAMP policy memo, which defines the key requirements and capabilities of the program. Lastly, the FedRAMP Program Management Office, or as you know it, the PMO. It was established within GSA and is responsible for the development of the FedRAMP program, including the management of day-to-day operation. When we look at FedRAMP partnerships with both industry and agencies, we see that the success of the program is dependent on strong relationships. At the forefront of FedRAMP's day-to-day operations is the Program Management Office, or as I mentioned before, the PMO. It provides a unified process for all agencies to follow and works closely with the JAB for prioritized vendors to achieve authorizations. The PMO also supports cloud service providers, or CSPs, and agencies through the authorization process, regardless of which path is chosen, and it maintains secure repository of FedRAMP ATOs to enable reuse. Agencies are responsible for ensuring all new cloud projects use the FedRAMP baseline controls and templates, as well as reviewing and granting authorizations. They're also responsible for integrating the FedRAMP requirements into agency-specific policies and procedures, which include adding or modifying contractual provisions that require CSPs meet FedRAMP requirements. Reviewing CSP documentation and test results prior to leveraging a JAB PATO or agency-issued ATO, reviewing plans of action and milestones for leveraged CSPs, submitting all ATO documents in the FedRAMP Secure Repository for an agency-issued CSP authorization to be leveraged by other agencies. A CSP can be a commercial or government entity that has a cloud offering or service. The CSP is responsible for submitting quality documentation in support of their FedRAMP application, implementing FedRAMP security controls, working closely with an independent third-party assessor or 3PAO to perform initial and annual assessments, and it's responsible for maintaining its authorization by complying with continuous monitoring requirements. 3PAOs are independent entities that perform initial and periodic security assessments of cloud systems. 3PAOs assess the CSP's security control implementation and generate a security assessment report and associated evidence of test results. 3PAOs play a critical role in the FedRAMP security assessment process as they verify cloud providers' security implementations and provide the overall risk posture of a cloud environment for a security authorization. The goals of FedRAMP are to accelerate the adoption of secure cloud solutions through reuse of assessments and authorizations, to ensure consistent application of existing security practices, to improve real-time security visibility, to enhance transparency between the government and CSPs, to provide a uniform approach to risk-based management, to increase automation and near real-time continuous monitoring, and to increase consistency and confidence in the security of cloud solutions using NIST and FISMA-defined standards. The benefits to agencies and CSPs using FedRAMP are: improves the trustworthiness, reliability, consistency, and quality of the federal security authorization process. Agencies and CSPs save significant cost, time, and resources. It's the do once, use many times approach. Agencies are able to reuse and share existing security assessments. And lastly, CSPs gain one authorization that is available to multiple agencies, further increasing their federal footprint. As I mentioned before, FedRAMP was built on the NIST Risk Management Framework. The NIST RMF is also known as Special Publication 837 Revision 1 and is available through the NIST website, which you can access by clicking on the Resource tab at the top right portion of this training module. The purpose of RMF is to ensure that managing risk from the operation and use of federal systems is consistent with the organization's mission, business objectives, and overall risk strategy. To ensure that the information security requirements are integrated into the enterprise architecture, to support consistent, well-informed, and ongoing security authorization decisions, and to achieve more secure information and systems. These are the 6 steps in NIST's RMF and how they apply to FedRAMP. First, categorize the information system. This step deals with categorizing the information system based on data types and the confidentiality, integrity, and availability, or CIA triad. Second, select security controls. Select the baseline controls here and apply tailoring guidance if necessary. Third, implement your security controls. This is where, in your system security plan, you explain how your offering implements a particular control requirement. Fourth, assess security controls. This is where a 3PAO tests security control effectiveness using different testing methods, such as manual testing or penetration testing. Fifth, authorize the information system. This is where the authorizing official reviews the security package and determines if there's an acceptable level of risk to allow the system to operate. And last but not least, the 6th step, monitoring security controls. This is the continuous tracking of the information system at different frequencies to ensure the information system maintains its security posture or mitigates risks that could potentially affect the system's posture. As I previously mentioned, federal agencies are required to assess and authorize information systems in accordance with FISMA. The FedRAMP SAF, or Security Assessment Framework, is compliant with FISMA and is based on the NIST RMF. In fact, FedRAMP uses the same documents and deliverables that NIST requires agencies to use. However, FedRAMP simplifies the NIST RMF by creating 4 process areas that encompass the 6 within 837: document, assess, authorize, and monitor. Document. In the document phase of the SAF, steps 1 through 3 of the risk management framework will be covered by categorizing the information system, selecting the security controls, and implementing and documenting the security controls and implementations in the SSP and supporting documents. Assess. CSPs must use an independent assessor to test the information system to demonstrate that the controls are effective and implemented as documented in the SSP. This assessment starts with documenting the methodology and the process for testing the control implementation in the Security Assessment Plan, otherwise known as the SAP. Authorize. Once testing has been completed, the next step for authorizing officials to make is an authorization decision based on the completed package of documents and the risks identified during the testing phase. Monitor. Ongoing assessment and authorization, or continuous monitoring, is the fourth and final process for cloud services in FedRAMP. Once a CSP receives a FedRAMP authorization, whether it be JAB or agency, it must implement a continuous monitoring capability to ensure the cloud system maintains an acceptable risk posture. This process determines whether the set of deployed security controls in the information system remain effective in light of planned and unplanned changes that occur throughout the system and its environment over time. Continuous monitoring results in greater transparency of the security posture and enables timely risk management. For risk management to succeed at all levels of the organization, an organization must have a consistent and effective approach to risk management that is applied to all risk management processes and procedures. Now, in comparing the SAF and RMF, we can see how FedRAMP standards are integrated and aligned. FedRAMP provides a standardized approach to security assessments by applying these frameworks across authorizations and continuous monitoring of cloud-based services. Specifically, FedRAMP looks for system categorization aligned with appropriate control baselines and impact levels, high-quality documentation regarding how security controls are implemented across the organization, assessment of security controls by a 3PAO to ensure that the controls are implemented correctly, operating as intended, and providing the desired outcomes. Coordinated authorizations with either the JAB or authorizing agency to determine the acceptable risk levels for cloud systems, and lastly, assurance from the CSP that continuous monitoring strategies are in place to improve or maintain the approved risk posture. Now let's discuss the authorization paths that a CSP can take. As I mentioned before, FedRAMP streamlines a federal agency's ability to use cloud services. One way FedRAMP accomplishes this is to provide 3 different paths for CSPs to obtain authorization. It's really important to understand that packages that go through any of these 3 paths can be leveraged by any federal government agency. The Joint Authorization Board, or JAB, is a committee of Chief Information Officers from the DoD, DHS, and GSA. The JAB is the primary governance and decision-making body for the FedRAMP program. The JAB conducts a rigorous technical review of each package to ensure that CSPs meet all controls as defined by NIST SP 853 Revision 4 and present an acceptable risk posture for use across the federal government. CSPs that opt to apply for a JAB PATO are required to go through the FedRAMP review and approve process and submit appropriate documentation to the FedRAMP PMO. The key benefit for a CSP achieving a JAB PATO is that the rigor of the JAB review gives agencies a very high confidence that the package does not present any unidentified or unanticipated risks. Another option for authorization is through an agency ATO. In this scenario, a CSP would submit the appropriate documentation to the FedRAMP PMO and to an individual agency. The agency conducts a review process and determines whether the package presents an acceptable level of risk to the agency. Agencies are also responsible for the continuous monitoring of the cloud system, although the results are given to the PMO for sharing with other leveraging agencies. Once authorized, other agencies are able to leverage this ATO through established FedRAMP processes for reuse in their agency. This significantly decreases the time for approvals and assessment. The final option a cloud service provider can use is the CSP supply path. However, this path does not authorize a cloud system to operate. By electing this path, a CSP supplies a security package to the FedRAMP PMO for prospective agency use. Final packages confirm that the CSP has completed the FedRAMP SAF independently instead of through the JAB or through a federal agency and verifies compliance. To achieve this, a CSP must use an accredited 3PAO for independent verification and validation of the cloud service. The key benefit to electing this path is that it significantly decreases the time for approvals because documentation and testing, of course by a 3PAO, are complete and available for agency review. The three paths to FedRAMP compliance are weighted equally in the sense that they can all be used across the federal government. While there is a common perception that one or the other path is better than another, that's not really the case. The major difference is that of rigor. Generally, JAB PATOs are more rigorous than agency ATOs, which are more rigorous than CSP supplied packages. Authorizing officials are likely and encouraged to take this difference into account. FedRAMP Compliant is a designation for cloud systems that demonstrate the following requirements. The system security package has been created using the required FedRAMP templates. The system meets the FedRAMP security control requirements. The system has been assessed by an independent assessor, a 3PAO, or agency-designated assessors. A CSP must obtain either a provisional authorization or PATO from the JAB, an agency ATO that meets FedRAMP authorization package standards, or a CSP self-submitted package, which is a complete authorization package that has passed the initial review for all system documentation, the SSP, the SAP, the SAR, and other supporting documents. An authorization letter for the system is on file with the FedRAMP PMO, with the exception of CSP supply packages, and the CSP maintains the continuous monitoring requirements of FedRAMP. In summary, FedRAMP offers a standardized approach to security assessment, authorization, and continuous monitoring for cloud products and services. One of FedRAMP's many goals is to accelerate federal agencies' adoption of cloud services. FedRAMP is built on the NIST risk management framework, and compliance with FedRAMP ensures that the cloud service meets all FISMA requirements. There are three paths for the CSP toward FedRAMP authorization: a JAB PATO, an agency ATO, and a CSP supplied package. This is Jason Oxenhandler for FedRAMP, and I'll see you in our next course.